How much money will you need to retire? Now, a lot of people have a number they think will do the trick.
Well, joining us today to talk about preparations needed for retirement is President of Golden Years Financial, Mark Cordner. Good morning.
It's good to be with you. Thank you.
It's great to have you in. So we kind of mentioned here, people might think there's this magic number. So is there one when it comes to saving for retirement?
Well, the internet would certainly tell you so. But I would say absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is no silver bullet. There's no magic number. There's no one size fits all. The truth is we're all different. And the truth also is that everyone can retire if they're willing to live on what they have. So maybe the better question is, what do you have? You know, and what are your expectations? Because a lot of people have big expectations and little resources, while others have a lot of resources and modest expectations.
Yeah, with that in mind, with the magic number in mind, what's a better way for people to start planning for their retirement rather than picking out a number out thin air?
Well, I would say it's really about having an honest assessment, an honest moment with ourselves or with our spouses if we're married, because it really boils down to what do you have and what are your expectations. And when I say what do you have, we're looking at resources like Social Security, pensions, savings, for example. Sometimes home equity is part of that picture. And people need to see what they have because we need to know that before we jump out of the workforce. It's much easier to jump out of the workforce than it is to get back in. And to be really candid, most people don't even know what they spend on a monthly basis. So I would say that's the first thing to start with is identify what your living expenses are going to be. Then we can look at the resources, see if there's a gap, and figure out how to close that gap so you've got some dignity in your later years when you can't go back to work.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot happening right now within the market. Should we know some things here on how to navigate that market risk right now?
Well, I would say as I frequently say to people, it's not all about sexy returns. We need to have some of our money in safe pockets because we don't want to be reaching into a declining portfolio, a market-based portfolio, when it's down, because that's going to cause a premature depletion of that account, a death spiral of sorts. And so we need to have safe money out there that we can reach into when the market's down. I call it a two-pocket strategy. We need to have at least two pockets because that gives us a place to go when the market's down. It buys us time for the market to recover, and then we can reach into those monies. But this gives us flexibility so we can deal with whatever the world brings to us, because the truth is we don't control the market. We don't control the world economy. But having safe money gives us the ability to sleep well at night, because it buys us time, it buys us confidence.
So talking about that strategy that you're mentioning, should tax strategy play a role in that retirement plan as well?
Oh, absolutely. That's the number one thing that people come to us for, is they're looking for how do we get to keep what we've accumulated, because we've spent our lifetime, this is sacred money, we've spent our lifetime trading time to earn this money that's supposed to carry us through what should be the most meaningful chapter of our lives, the third chapter of the play, as it were. And if we haven't thought in terms of preserving that, particularly from Uncle Sam, in what is invariably going to be a rising tax environment, then we're going to have Hurtsville coming up, and we just need to do what we can now to start getting ourselves off this train track, because there's a train wreck coming in the form of higher taxes.
Well, to those who might be a little bit on the procrastination side, what would you say to them when it comes to retirement planning?
I would say you're normal. Because this is a hard thing to think about. None of us want to think about getting older and the things we can't control in life. But the sooner we start, the better. Because here's the simple reality is, no one's going to take care of me except me. No one's going to take care of the future you except you. And once we come to realize that and take responsibility for our own futures, then we're going to be much more secure, because the simple truth is the government's not going to be able to rescue us all. We have to take responsibility for our own lives. And that's not the way that society has conditioned us. We've come to believe that government will take care of us from cradle to grave, or some employer will, but most people do not have the Social Security, do not have the pensions they need. We really have to rely upon ourselves, and so the sooner we start, the better we'll be.
Another thing alongside the magic number is people try and figure out a percentage of their earnings or their take home every month that they should be putting away. Is there a specific number that people should be looking at as a bare minimum?
Oh, wow. I think that really depends on the seasons of our life. You know, when we're younger, we can put away a smaller percentage. I would say start, at least 10%. I mean, in our youth, our younger years, we're most concerned about just providing groceries and diapers for the kids, right? And so maybe 10% during our 20s and maybe 15 during our 30s and 20% during our 40s and so on. I would say by the time we get up into our 50s and 60s, we ought to be saving at least a third of our income, if not more. Because again, the day is going to come when we're going to have to rely upon those savings. And more people, it's like 42% of people retire earlier than expected because of either health or economic circumstances. And since we can't exactly forecast when that's going to be, the sooner we start preparing, the safer we'll be.
Yeah.
Prepare, keyword.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks,
Well,
Mark.
Mark, thank you so much. You've given such great advice this morning. The first 5 callers with a portfolio of $250,000 or more will receive a complimentary retirement plan just for you, with the opportunity to personally sit down with Mark and his team.
This will provide you with a roadmap and analyzing where you are right now and discussing your best steps to really get ready for retirement. Just call 702-766-3877. Again, that's 702-766-3877. And for additional information, just visit gyfinancial.com.